All right, all right. Welcome to I'm already fucking stumbling. I'm just excited because we put a lot of effort into this show today, guys. Welcome to the receipts room. We've been telling y'all we're gonna start branding nights here on Everything Is, and this is Everything Is Receipts show. So no
Yes.
takes without evidence today. No claims without proof. We bring the document, we bring the source, we bring the page number, and you decide what to do with it. Every time you see us in this format, that's what you're gonna get. Not our opinion, just the best fact, actual receipts.
Yeah, man. So on every Wednesday, make sure you check us out for receipt night. So tonight's subject is Project 2025. Okay. And before we get into it, I need to say one thing and make it real clear. This is not conspiracy theory. That's Friday. This is not rumor. Project 2025 is a real document. It is a 922-page long document. It was published in April of 2023 by the Heritage Foundation, and it's available right now at project2025.org. You can download it, you can read it, because we did.
Yeah, man. And tonight we're gonna give you a show that shows you exactly what the document says with page numbers and to show you exact. Yeah, and then we're gonna show you exactly what has happened since January 20th, 2025. We're going to show you the plan and the execution. Because, in our opinion, the most important questions you can ask right now is not whether Project 2025 is real. We already know that it's real. It's whether you
Clearly.
knew it was already happening.
So, again, thank y'all. Pull up. It's the receipts room.
Let's get it. All right. Welcome to Everything Is the Receipts Room, baby.
Hey,
As you
man,
see,
we
uh,
workshopped this. We workshopped this so
yeah.
long, man, trying
Yo,
to
trust
brand
me,
us and figure out what we want to
this
do with this,
is
man.
going to be a work in progress. So bear with us. Yeah. We're not going to give you our opinions tonight, but we are going to introduce the show a little bit casual today because I want to, give us a chance to first talk about, how we received Project 2025 and what we thought because we're just like y'all. Some of y'all might not have been too keen on Project 2025. Some of y'all might have thought it was like an urban legend or something just to scare us away from Trump. But nah, it's been real. The Heritage Foundation is a real organization. So I'm just going to tell you where I thought about it growing into election. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought to some degree it was a scare tactic to scare people away from Trump. You know,
Me too. Me
and
too.
and yeah,
Me too.
and
It sounded too precise. I'm like, this ain't Trump. Like a
yeah,
plan? An agenda? A
yeah.
checklist? Like
Trump
that ain't
comes
sound
off
like my
like
boy. That ain't sound like my boy Donnie, man. Not at all.
Trump sometimes comes off like the Joker. He's like, I don't have a plan. I don't just, I just, I'm just a dog chasing a, car. If I got it, I don't know what I would do with it. That's what the Joker says. But that's how Trump comes off. But the people behind Trump, we're going to find out tonight that are not that stupid. They're not that chaotic. They have real motivations to change the foundation of this country. Man, and sure, they sure have. They've actually accomplished quite a bit of what Project 2025 has done thus far. What the plan was, to this day. So, yeah, man, this everything is where we tell you everything that matters in the world. We are the zeitgeist with our culture. So today we are getting into the receipts on Project 2025. Chris, how you feeling today?
I mean, it ain't no way but to feel. Let's get it. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. I got receipts. I got Zaxby receipts, Walmart receipts. I got motherfucking a bill receipt for the water bill. We got Walgreens receipts. We got McDonald's receipts. What's up? It's the receipt room, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. So we're gonna start off with Project 25 and just letting y'all know what it was. So let's start with what it is. What it is. What's
What's
all right? So let's start with what Project 2025 is, and then we're going to get into how will this connects directly to Trump. So Project 2025, as Chris mentioned, is a 920-page document published in April 2023 by the Heritage Foundation. Now, the Heritage Foundation is a conservative think tank based in Washington, D.C. It was written by more than 350 former Trump administration officials, and its official title is Mandate for Leadership, as you can see on the screen right now. The Conservative Promise. Now, this is not a secret document. It's publicly available, as Chris said, on project2025.org. You can download it right now. It's detailed, specific, chapter by chapter blueprint for what a conservative president should do with the executive branch of the United States government. Now, it's covering every single federal agency, every department, and what policy should be installed on day one. And this, to me, I think what happened was they read the tea leaves. They saw that the Biden administration was, first of all, plagued with COVID. Then it was plagued with a bunch of mistrust and misinformation when it came to the vaccine and all that stuff. Then he was old, so he wasn't a very effective communicator, Joe Biden. So they kind of knew that Trump was going to be in office, right? And they saw that Trump kind of in his first term wasn't very effective to what they want. He did some things, but not to the degree of what a conservative president could do, given all the power in the world. And they put together this plan, and they're like, hey, if we can give this guy who has no plan, who's very self aggrandizing, selfish person, a plan, and tell him that this is going to, help him win votes and, change the country and make him be remembered. I think they were able to get in his ear and put people behind him. Go ahead.
I just want, and I know you're probably going to get into this, but I just want people to know the Heritage Foundation ain't something that is new.
No.
These niggas been around since 1973. And that of the mantra of mandate for leadership is not something that they have just created. That's the framework that they used in the 80s for your boy Ronald Reagan. So when we're talking about making some, and the right words of the Undertaker, making somebody famous, Heritage Foundation is about making whoever they choose famous.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't think they had their talent in Trump as much as in the first Trump era, the first term, because a lot of people were actually against Trump in his first term. They didn't even believe he could win, to be quite honest.
Yes.
The
establishment, the establishment did not think that they would have to put things in place for a Trump administration. So they bypassed them completely that first term.
Yeah, exactly. So now with a real, all right, we know we got Trump. He has the energy. This MAGA thing is not going away. Let's get behind him and so you can't beat him, join him. And that's what the Heritage Foundation, in my opinion, did. So this is their plan. Like I said, you can look it up on project2025.org and you can read through each chapter on what it said it was going to do. Now bringing this to our guy Trump and what he said, prior to being elected, what he said as it pertains to Project 2023.
Not your boy Donnie Lyon. We ain't got him lying, do we? Of course we got this nigga lying.
He said he doesn't have anything to do with Project 2025.
The volume's down, brother.
Can't hear it? Okay, sorry.
No, the volume. No.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you, brother. Yes. Okay.
I'm not. Let me go back here.
What's crazy is we heard this. We heard this in pre-pro, everybody. So we ran through this one time down for y'all. Here we go.
One, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas. I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic, and the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and I was the one that created them.
All right. Listen, he
All
talked
right.
about a whole bunch of stuff that had nothing to do with Project 2025 that he says he did. But he obviously had to pivot away from that. He said he had nothing to do with
Oh
it.
my soul, nigga. Let me move away from this real quick. I ain't do nothing.
Exactly. Completely dodged it. And the truth of the matter is, then from there, he went on Truth Social and he posted, I know nothing about Project 2025 again. He said, I have no idea who was behind it. I have no idea who's behind it. Remember that line. He said he has no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things that they're saying. And some of the things and something that they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. Let me see if I can find that tweet and share it with you.
My nigga said, I wish them luck and just said, you know what? Luck don't need to find you. I'ma hire you. Yeah, well,
and here you can see it for
who
yourself.
needs luck?
Here's the receipt. This is his tweet.
Hey,
You can read it for yourself.
hey, not
I
us
know
having our
nothing.
first receipt of the night, baby.
We've had a couple already. I showed you the image. That's what it's, I showed you Trump saying he did not know who these niggas were. This is our third receipt tonight. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. All right.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it in his voice. Abysmal.
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 I have
Abysmal.
nothing to do with them. Okay. All right. So he says he has nothing to do with them. All right. Let me see if I can pull up this Time article
Yeah.
and tell you what they say when it comes to this.
You got the Time article, or you got it?
Yep. So
Okay, excuse me.
and this is Trump's early actions that mirror. But you can speak. I'll let you speak on this though. But I have
Well,
here a list.
In this Time article, though, this again was published January 24th of 2025, right? So January 24th of 2025, right?
This is like a couple of days after inaugurations, like a couple of weeks.
Nigga, I think his first day in office was the 20th.
Oh, okay. A couple days.
I think the 20th was his first day in office. And so right here, niggas is already on the scent. It's like a dog with a bone. I gotta find it. Trump's early actions mirror Project 2025, the blueprint he once dismissed. Now, again, this is Time magazine, but you can't really trust Time, right? Wasn't Trump Time Man of the Year at one point? So it's pretty hard to trust Time. So
why
with
is it
that,
hard to trust Time? If they Man of the Year, clearly they were unbiased enough to give him Man of the Year, But I think that people just don't trust anything anymore. As long as it doesn't fit their narrative, they don't trust it.
Well, I would say this for me at the time, and here we are. We said we wasn't going to bring too many opinions on here. For me at the time, when there was a need for journalistic integrity to remain in place. So what I was gathering from that at the time when they made him Man of the Year, I'm like, off of what premise, what base, what where did you just come from the last, like, you know what I mean? Like, I had no idea. I thought time was capitulating. I thought that they were bending the knee, realistically.
To who?
So to Trump,
To
when
Trump?
they made
Okay.
him man of the year, I think if and I don't want to keep. Let me verify that since we're talking about Trump time man of the year cover. Yeah, because I do. Yes, I knew I wasn't tripping.
You want to share
Okay,
that?
Donald Trump has been named Times Person of the Year
Yeah, he has
twice.
twice.
Most recently in 2024, and then he was first elected Person of the Year in 2016. So yes, so when this article came out, back to what I was saying, it's me looking at time with an eye like what he didn't do for you. You know what I'm saying? Like what he didn't do for you. Now I feel like now you're coming back and you're trying to scathe him a little bit. Now you're trying to be a little bit more even. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying with what we got going on.
I
But
think there's an
to
agenda behind it.
it,
Yeah.
to me,
Okay.
but that's not what we're here. We're not here for opinions. We're here with facts.
Mm-hmm.
So facts is with this article, they asked him they specifically reached out to the White House spokesperson, and at the time, a White House person. This is a quote in the article. A White House spokesperson tells Time that Trump quote had nothing to do with Project 2025 end quote, and that his
Wow.
first and that his first raft of executive orders quote delivered on the promises that earned him a resounding mandate from the American people, securing the border, restoring common sense, driving down inflation, and unleashing American energy, unquote. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So
That.
that's crazy. That's crazy that they can tell bold-faced lies, and the only thing that we can do is just print it and like, look, that's what they said.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's crazy because when you look at his first executive orders, um, it kind of mirrors Project 2025. But before we even get into that, here it tells you that into this time no, this is what his early actions in 2025 married the blueprint of what he wants to dismiss. He dismissed Project 2025. But before we get into, let's talk about his cabinet choices. We're gonna get into his
Okay.
cabinet choices real quick because this is very, very telling. Because how are you gonna say that you don't know who they are? You disavowed them. You had no idea who they are, but he wishes them well. All this shit, right? And then what we start seeing is that um, if you're keeping it completely honest, a lot of people he brought into his cabinet and chose for certain positions in his cabinet were directly related to Project 2025 and the creation. For instance, Russell Vought, which is funny because he,
The boys.
uh, yeah, I know, right? he wrote Project 2025 entire chapter on executive office of the president. He is now Trump's director of Office of Management and Budget. He's the man who controls the federal budget, man. This guy who wrote a whole chapter in Project
Yep.
2025. Then
He's a
we
key
have
architect. A
a
key
key
architect.
architect for it. And this
And
is what
and
Trump said he didn't know anybody. He said it was
and this
abysmal.
and this guy is essentially the head, right, of the nerve center for exerting presidential influence across the federal government. That's his job. Management and budget. He is the technically, for all intents and purposes, the brains of
Yeah,
the operation.
facts. Facts. Excuse me. So then he appoints Paul Dans, this guy over here. He was the director of Project 2025 at the Heritage Foundation. Now, he was Trump's White House chief of personnel in his first term. So the guy in his first term, Paul Dant, was head of chief personnel. So you can see that he's still related to this guy before he even created Project 25. He's saying he didn't know who it was. He knew this guy. He was his chief personnel in his first term. Like
Very good
complete,
people. Very
complete
good
lie.
people.
And then this one, I'm sure if y'all paid attention, y'all all know who this is. She tells you all the lies about the Epstein files, and she said it was on her desk. Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi was active prior to 2025 as a reporter, and she is now the United States Attorney General. She was very vocal with prior 2025 support. Then the now CIA director, this gentleman, John Radcliffe, he's connected to
Mm,
Project 2025 network and organization with the Heritage Foundation. So
mm.
right now we are like not even 5 degrees of separation. These are 1 degree of separation to Donald Trump and directly to Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation. And of course, the guy who has now completely lied us into a war and is super a crazy neocrat warmonger, Pete Hegseth. He now is the Secretary of Defense, and his policy positions align with Project 2025 military chapter, which calls for purging diversity officers, which they have actually done from the military, and ending what is called political indoctrination of service members. Now, he said he didn't know these people's plan. He said he didn't even know these people. These people are now running the government, and they're now implementing specifically the plan of Project 2025.
Now, also, I know we're making this very much Trump specific, especially for Project 2025, but I don't want people to not understand the people behind this. The Heritage Foundation, again, we're not letting them off the hook because if you look at the
Yeah.
time frame of when they were established, February 16th of 1973, that's kind of around the time of the Powell memorandum of what we
Oh
were
man,
talking about.
yeah, that is true.
You
What
see what
you
I'm
said,
saying? So
1960 what?
1973,
1973.
1970,
Oh, the
yeah,
Powell
the
memo
Heritage
is like a
Foundation
year or two before it.
is the year before, I believe, and where he wrote it in 1971 and then was put into place in
He was in the Supreme
1972.
Court. He was Supreme Court
Ex-
justice. So go
exactly.
back and watch our Power Memo video if y'all haven't checked it out. It's very insightful on why the corporations kind of run this country at this point and how long and distant in the plans that plan has now come to fruition. About 50 years in the
And
making
they
of.
and they already, this is not the first time they've wrote 1,000-page memorandum for a president to follow. Again, I mentioned Reagan.
Yeah.
In 1981, it was 1,000 pages,
Oof.
a 2,000 policy recommendations. We're talking about that less people put in place of what we remember the 80s to be. Let's put in place of what people, talk about Reaganomics,
Mhm.
right? That was from the implementation of the Heritage Foundation being influential in that administration. So I just want people to understand that yes, Trump is a goddamn great puppet. One of the greatest puppets we have ever fucking seen. He Elmo, Oscar, Big Bird,
Yeah.
whatever. But guess what? We
He's
never know
definitely
who
Big Bird.
run, but we never know who's behind them.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Like
It's
we
it's it's it's
never know who's
essential
behind them.
when you're
So it's
dissecting
essential
this
to know. Exactly.
who's pulling the strings behind this.
Yes.
Because we say Project 2025 Trump. Oh my God, guys, that's why I brought up all
Yeah.
the people that were tied to Project 2025 and the administration we see now. Yeah, Trump chose them, but the rabbit hole runs deep. It goes so far when you actually take the time to look into it and how far the Heritage Foundation has come to now control the domestic policy and foreign policy, but specifically domestically on what they believe America should be. And like their policies are extremely first of all, very, very controlling of people's lives and immigration, just anything having to do with diversity completely. Um, they want to completely ban abortion. They are against education. there. So it's like it goes to speak that like they want you to be
We got
uh
another big one. They they trying to end your corn. They trying to end your corn. For all my
yeah,
corn
man.
lovers, baby. They trying to end your
Trying to end the
corn,
course for
baby.
sure. So yeah, man, I think we just gotta just run through the checklist of what the Heritage Foundation has um directly
Yep.
and put into Project 2025, 2025, and how it's directly now come forth and impacted today's today's policies.
Yes. And my man, he gave off a few names and showed a few pictures and showed a few faces. I also want and that are in cabinet of in Trump's personnel cabinet right now. Can't forget about other people who wrote. Peter Navarro, he wrote the trade section. He's the top trade advisor right now. Brandon Carr, who wrote the FCC reform chapter, he now runs the FCC.
Yeah, true.
And you know, and we can't forget about the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt
Caroline Leavitt.
herself. Yeah,
Yeah.
or Levitt. Yes, her, Caroline Levitt. She was an instructor for Projects 2025's Conservative Governance 101 training program. So she taught
Hmm.
Project 2025 while serving as the press secretary, while denying administration publicly being tied to it. So she was teaching it privately to those for them to. It's again. It's almost like it's a conspiracy, but we got the receipts to prove that it's not. This is real.
This is
This is
real.
constructed. There's not a. This is constructed, and it is
Hmm.
being implemented right now while we're talking.
And this is why we need to fight back as far as with our own think tanks that because I like to believe the ideas. I get it. If people want to say people are radical and all that stuff, a lot of stuff they have in here is radical and they're trying to get it done.
Super
And
radical.
they act like it's normal. But like when they talk about the left being radical, I want y'all to understand the worst thing the left wants, the left does not want you to not have a good life. Like that's the thing. You may think what we say is radical, what we believe is radical. We are saying all this with the belief of we want your life to be better. We want you to be able to go to the hospital, when you're sick. We want you to be able to find a decent paying job, and that's the crux of where the left is coming from. But when you read through where they're coming from is they almost see half of the country as like not human. So it's kind of crazy, because they don't want certain people to be American almost. So so here we go with the first correlation directly to the
Here we
heritage,
go.
the past Project 2025. So if you go to Project 25, page 4, I'm not going to the page, but I'm going to show you what the executive orders were. So I'm going to tell you where the pages are, but if you go to project2025.org, you can follow along with us. On page 4, it commands the leading terms diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Mm-hmm.
gender,
Mm-hmm.
abortion, reproductive
Mm-hmm.
rights, and dozens of
Mm-hmm.
other terms out of every federal rule, agency, regulation, contract, grant, regulation, uh, agency regulation, contract, grant, regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. So any legislation at all across the board, the words diversity, the words equity, the words inclusion, gender, abortion, reproductive rights, they want to remove that word entirely from any legislation, which is absurd
It's
because
not
if
what they
you
wanted to do. It's what they did,
it's
brother.
what they did. It's what they
That's what
actually
they did.
did. Let's go
What
forth,
they
man.
did.
Listen, here we are, and ending racial and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. This is the executive order that was it's from the White House, January 20th. This is the first day in office, bro.
His
He
first
wrote
day.
this by the
So so
authority
so so
vested
when,
in the.
so when we talk about that article from Time, I'm sorry. So when we talk about that article from Time, written January 24th, this is literally 4 days
Yeah.
after. This is 4 days after.
Uh-huh. This is 4 days after. that they wrote this article.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Yep,
And when
yep.
it comes to, let's go where these are things that they actually saw. So when it comes to the culture issues,
Um,
this goes to the DEI stuff.
yep, the
Trump
culture
has also,
issues. Yep.
yeah, Trump has adopted several policy changes that echo Project 2025, particularly concerning the issues of gender identity and diversity initiatives. One of Trump's first
Mhm.
executive orders reversed Biden era protections for transgender individuals in the military, reinstating the ban on transgender service members, which aligns with Project 2025's recommendation to proudly state that men and women are biological realities, and eliminate policies that conflate gender identity with biological sex. Trump also took steps to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI initiatives within the government. One executive order rescinded policies that required federal contractors to promote affirmative action and diversity programs, in line with Project 2025's call to eliminate initiatives that promote racial or gender based quotas. So that's been directly to what we see over here. This is the executive order of ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and prefacing directly to that. This is the receipts. It's not me saying
Yo,
this. It's
yo,
the New York
Project
Times is saying this.
2025. Project 2025 came out in 2023 and said, "This show warning shot, bang,
Wow.
nigga."
Exactly, 100%.
They gave
And
us
you
our
can,
warning shot, brother,
yeah, and you can
and
read
we
through it,
did
man.
not listen, bro.
Eh, Um,
Ah,
it's a unfortunate situation because when you think about it, and I'm not trying to give them all my opinions, but I'm just saying, guys, there are some things here that we can sit here and debate. There's certain things here that we could sit here and go back and forth on whether it's a good thing for people or not. But I do want you to know that these things were put into place for a reason. If you can't sit here and act like affirmative action and DEI, mandates were in place for a reason, then you're not going to be able to have that honest conversation. Now you can debate whether it's good or bad or whatever, but just completely ripping it out means that there is an executive order. It's not like we put it through Congress or Senate. They just said no, we're just taking it all out. And when you remove all those labels from all legislation, I just want you to realize that it can harm certain communities long term in a negative facet. And maybe you don't care about that. Maybe that's the whole plan and maybe that's the whole purpose of this is to like say no, we want to harm these communities. But then you want to ask yourself is if your government is trying to harm specific communities, is that good for the country going forward? Because a lot of the times they say that the left is divisive, but to me, these types of stripping away of no, we can't make anything, we can't help out people of different genders, different cultures, different remove all trans people in the military. When you take all that stuff out, right, and you're not protecting people for their humanity, I think that's divisive. I think that that can cause more problems in the future, and I want just people to consider that. Just consider the fact that when you remove DEI, when you remove all the gender specific rules, all those words that choose that are put in there for a reason to protect certain people, you're now going to default to the biases of people at this point now. Now, everybody, no matter who you are, I think has a little bit of bias when you guys are looking at people, implicit bias, whether you've been growing up in a certain area of the country. There are people in this country that have never seen a trans woman or they've never seen a gay person, they've never seen a black person, they've never seen they haven't encountered what a woman would do or have to go through with abortion. They're strictly in the church and they are in the Midwest and they have never really understood what the realities are of what people go through that are not like them. And if those people are making decisions for the entire country, then you're going to be harming people that are not like you. And I just want that to be a consideration when you look at this Project 2025 thing, because when you talk about these conservative think tanks, I think that the problem that I have with it is, and not trying to put too much opinion on it, but is that they want you to be controlled by them. I think the liberal mindset is we don't want to control you. We want you to accept everybody. And they think that trying to accept other people is control. And I don't think that's out. I think we see it completely differently. It's kind of like inverted. But when you tell me how people should be, and no, we can't look at you for your gender and your race, and we can't take that into context. Given the history of this country, I think that's going to continue consistently um, harm a bunch of people. And I think that's all I'm going to say about this because I'm trying to be as light foot as I can right now because I just hope people could broaden their mindset a little bit on why this is problematic. That's all.
Well, I think the biggest part of this conversation is not to, well, I won't speak for what not to do. I think the biggest portion of this is mindset or not. Do you know why you have that mindset? Right? I think for me that will be
Yeah,
my goal going
yeah, that's a good, that's a
forward
good, that's a
with
good way to put it.
with this segment or with this show or with this segmented day. Do you know why you think the way you do? Right? And I'm not asking you or telling you how to. I'm just saying
Yeah, yeah.
when we're ending these when it's federal executive order being written into legislation to to just remove words. I thought words is not supposed to hurt. Right? That's what you guys say to us when you want to call us out our names or when you want to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, words is not supposed to elicit so much quote unquote action. Right? And I just, even if you are in the Bible Belt, even if you are in the Midwest, even if you are a New Yorker like Trump, wherever you are, I just want to know, has, I just want to ask and be able to be informed what has this impeded on you for you to have this ideology?
Hmm.
And then we can discuss
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
You're
Like
right.
we can discuss whatever. But I just want to know why you have this thought process.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get
I'm,
into my wife all the time. I'm like, hey, why'd you do that? I don't know. So when you thought about it, what made you? You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. My biggest thing is like, what made you think? You know what I'm saying?
it's
Like
funny. Those situations, I find that people do know. They just don't want to say the reason. It,
exactly.
it, it ends up being a
And
reason they
that's what
don't.
and that's what pisses me off because be straight up, whether we talking about them or we talking about my wife, nigga, as a man, respect me and tell me
Hmm.
why you think that way.
Yeah, exactly.
As a man, what is your you got to tell me your thought process because you then challenge me on my thought process.
Because I think we got to understand that one thing about this country, this world, even trans people are not going anywhere, and the sentiments against them are negative. Let's be real. A majority of people have this negative sentiment towards them. So
Black
how
people
do
ain't
we?
going nowhere.
Black people, exactly. So that's what I'm about to get to that. Black people are not going nowhere. So, and the sentiment towards them, with the conservatives, tends to be negative and anti-black. There's a rhetoric. There's a way y'all talk about us on Fox News that is just not okay. So if you can understand that, if you can see us for who we are, which is human beings first. There's a rhetoric against women that's just nasty, that with conservatives that, I think just because you're conservative, you expect a woman to be a certain way. There's many different ways to be a woman in this world, and to give them the dignity that they deserve. And they're not going anywhere. So people who have dealt with situations, whether it be unfortunate situation when it comes to reproductive rights, and what circumstances they've been in, to then say, hey, I might need to go handle this in a way that you might not, whether it be through abortion. this is happening, guys. This is a reality that people face. So how do we come to a conclusion that we're not telling people how to be and trying to change people to fit who we are, and accept people for who they are to a degree. I'm all for us having barriers or borders lying on certain things like but I see what I find is that they make the extreme the normal. They make the extreme situation the generality of that group. The extreme situation is that all trans men want to go into women's bathrooms, or all trans women want to go to women's bathrooms and play women's sports. The truth of the matter is majority of trans people are not doing that, or not, and that's not their motivation. But that becomes the largest fear. The fear base of it all becomes the major conversation of it. So
But
I would
I
hope that
want to
we can
know. But I want to also know, as we're talking receipts, right? I'm so sorry. What is the fear base of the VA implementing a rule barring abortion provision, even in the case of rape and incest? So let me just re-say that again. Okay. When you just brought up reproductive rights and everything like that,
yeah.
I just want people, again, when we're asking them to think for a second. A woman needs to take care of a situation that ain't got shit to do with you, your state constituency. She across the goddamn Mississippi River, motherfucker. How do you get to say and implement something federally that impacts someone
In that
and,
dire situation where
and
they
that
speak.
there's and so you're gonna force somebody again who was R word or incest. Okay,
Incest.
do you know what incest is, people?
They know
Do-
what
do-
incest
do-
is.
hey, that's a white person sport, ain't it?
Damn. Okay, opinion, Chris. I see you come peeking through there. Uh,
Let me
but
reel it back in. I'm sorry. Let me reel it
yeah,
back
no,
in.
no.
My
But
bad.
they know what incest is for sure. And I just think that it's a lack of empathy and sympathy for people who might go through things that are different than you. I think that
Yeah.
what their images of black people is what they show on Fox News, which is, oh, they're thugs, oh, they don't want to work, they want to go on welfare. Where shit, you'd be surprised what black people actually have to go through in this world if you guys step into the
Or if you
shoes
want
of.
to talk about receipts or the facts, we can pull up the receipts of the fact that white people receive majority of welfare
Yeah, yeah,
accommodations.
exactly. Welfare, exactly. That's it.
Like,
Well,
so we get, like, since we're on receipt night and, you know what I mean, like,
yeah,
not getting the
100%,
opinion of what a black
100%.
person has to go to, but like if y'all, like, if that's the talking point, like, even to where we're at, because we're still on receipt one, the fact that you have to
Mhm.
purge the website data referencing the LGBTQ the LGBTQ plus community of federal health agencies, um erasing gender ideology. Like, at the same time, you erasing it from the website does not erase it from it actually being someone's reality. So
Yes.
as you state that you want to get back to where men and women biological, my motherfucking chair just broke talking shit about this nigga. When y'all saw me snap back like that, goddamn. When y'all want to talk about gender, getting back to
You
the
good?
yeah, I'm all right. When we want to talk about getting back to the principles and the realities of what biological genders are, the reality is my reality is not your reality. The reality is I want to be something that you don't want to be. The reality is that you are somebody that I don't want to be. Right? Like the reality is before, and again, to your point, transgender gender affirming people are not going anywhere. We talked about it when we spoke about it. 1930s was the first documented, and it happened worldwide across it.
Yeah.
So
It's
it
been
ain't even
here.
just
It's
it's been
documented.
here.
It's
Like,
not
what we
going anywhere,
do
especially now. So how do we have a society that, you know, per-
includes them.
includes them and protects you from whatever fears you have? Because I think that a lot of what the conservative mindset tends to come from is a lot of fear based policies. we are afraid of white men not getting jobs over the immigrants. So now let's throw out all the immigrants. That's the solution. Very simple, right? Oh, let's not have any immigrants now because we're losing our jobs. Like, and the truth of the matter, that might not be the solution. And that might not be the reason you're losing your job. So, like, if you dive a little deeper, correlation and causation are two different things. So, when you start to dive a little deeper, you start to find out
nigga.
that you wouldn't have a job either way,
Bro,
because
you want to get the receipt too, nigga? Because they stripping niggas when they job from the federal workforce.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
what
yeah.
they
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about
that
it.
the bills that they're signing, my nigga, is not because they're taking jobs away from y'all niggas regardless.
Exactly. So,
Good paying federal pension jobs, my nigga. It ain't got shit to do with an immigrant.
exactly.
Nigga.
So, if you go to now Project 2025, they repeatedly calls for reinstating Schedule F, and this is a policy that reclassifies career civil servants as political appointees, so they can be fired without civil service protections. So, Trump signed an executive order um, and this is the executive order, it said he signed an executive order reinstating Schedule F on January 20th. On his first day
Yes.
back in office, he renames it Schedule Policy / Career Positions, but the
Yep.
mechanism is identical to what President 2025 specified.
Exactly.
And to explain that a little bit, like, further, is um, you got to think of federal government like a big company with like two types of employees. So you got the
Yep.
first type are career employees, these people who got their jobs by applying, interviewing, and passing tests and earning their position on merit, right? They work for the government regardless of which party is in the White House. The same way the city's water department keeps running, whether a Democrat or Republican is a mayor.
Yep.
They are protected by civil service laws, which means they cannot fire them for political reasons. Like, you just can't have somebody who has a job and just fire them. It's like, yo, just because the regime changed. You can only fire them for actual cause, for doing their job badly, breaking rules, misconduct. These protections exist specifically so that when the new president comes in, the experienced people who actually know how the government works cannot be replaced wholesale.
They just keep it running. They just say, hey, we
Yeah,
know you got your own shit going on. We're going to keep this shit going on over here, brother. Don't
yeah,
worry about
because
us.
we have to have the government run while there's a shift of power and beyond, with people who've been doing the job for years. And there's nothing they did wrong, right? It's just other than you got a job. Now they got to lose their job. It makes no damn sense. And then
That's
the second type of people are political appointees, which is completely different. These are people the president personally selects because they support his agenda. They serve at the pleasure of the president, meaning he can fire them at any time for any reason, no reason at all. Now, Schedule F is a policy that takes career employees and reclassifies them as political
yep.
appointees on paper.
Yes.
Nothing,
Yes.
yeah, nothing about their actual job changes, but their legal protections disappear overnight. The moment you are reclassified, you can be fired for any reason, including that you worked in a department the president wants to run differently, or that you refused to implement a policy you believed was illegal, or simply that someone more loyal to the current administration wants your job. This is what they're doing now. We've seen this over the past 2 years with Trump. So year and a half, I should say. It feels longer. But Project 2025 specifically called for this policy to be reinstated as one of his core tools for taking control of the federal government. Trump signed it back into existence on the very first day in office, January 2020, 2025. He renamed it Schedule Policy Career Positions. So it would sound new, but it's not new. It's the same mechanism that would be with a different label. And in plain English of what this means is imagine you work for the EPA for 15 years protecting environmental regulations. So let's say you work for the EPA. So you work for the EPA, you make sure that people's water is clean. You make sure that people abide by fire laws and every so that and zoning regulations, so that you can't put certain buildings certain places where it could harm the environment. Um, and you've been doing this for 15 years because you know the regulations, you know what's safe, what's not safe. It doesn't matter if it was Obama, it doesn't matter if it was Bush, it doesn't matter if it was Biden or Trump the first term. You were doing your job perfectly fine. And now you're not a Democrat or Republican. You're just a scientist doing a government job, And then now under Schedule F, you can now be fired, not because you did anything wrong, but because the new administration wants someone in your seat who will do the job differently. And you have no legal protection to stop it. This is what the policy does. And Project 2025 said to do it before anything else. So they wanted this done before anything else in Project 2025. Because once you can get people who would break the law for you in these seats, then you have real leeway to do whatever you want, state by state, you know, and control regulations on all types of stuff. This is the FCC, this is the EPA, this is the media organizations and what's allowed to be seen
Or,
on the show on TV.
the energy department that they broke up. They
Yeah,
broke up the Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations entirely,
entirely, completely gone.
entirely, completely gone.
It's insane. It's insane because you're putting people's lives at risk at this point. This is the reason why, back in the day when people were getting tuberculosis in the mines and shit, like, they didn't have protections and people were losing their family members for just going to work, you know, and now we're going backwards, So there's a bunch of things. And now we get to get people fired like Jimmy Kimmel for saying something anti-Trump on TV because the FCC kind of, is backed by Trump, so you can't say certain things. Your freedom of speech is now in trouble. It isn't is compromised. So that's what Project 25 was all about. They really want to control the culture completely and control whether you're safe or not at your job.
Well, I mean, and it's not also like just safe, like security, right? Well, the same thing. We can use them in the same thing because when we talked about that reclassification, and when we're talking about people just losing their jobs at will, that's what that bill is. So literally, with receipts, approximately 8,000 employees got reclassified,
Oof.
meaning 8,000 employees are at risk every single day, depending on what
No
day
matter
he
what
wake
they
up.
do, and just like
It don't it
it
don't
doesn't matter
matter,
anymore. It don't matter.
you
Not
know.
based on
So
merit anymore.
no,
Just based on who's closer, who wants to do it the way you want to do it.
and to your point when you said about scientists, these are GSO for people who work at, in federal buildings, GS workers, right? They're general schedule GS. So you can be a GS 2, a GS 9, a GS 15. That's the highest grade level that you can receive in the federal government and receive a top tier technical expert. You're a senior advisor. You're a high level manager. Your pay represents that. Your responsibility can be a director, right? Like you can be a director of a federal program. You can oversee major budgets.
Yeah.
You can supervise the lower tilt and and instruct, right? Now we're talking about qualifications of these people. You need a PhD
Yeah.
or a doctoral degree.
Yeah.
You gotta have something behind you. You gotta have receipts to receive this type
Credentials, real
of
credentials,
grant.
man. Like, and that's what I
Come
want.
on.
I don't care if you are a Republican, Democrat, or whatever. If you've been studying something for years and you know the science behind something, I prefer you be in charge of something so you know the pitfalls, of what's going on and where this country is going to benefit, and make things, safer and better for people scientifically than somebody who just, like aligned to a specific party and doesn't have the credentials or the knowledge base for what's
Now,
going on.
and I don't want to be ignorant when we're talking about the clean energy or clean water, right? Departments being eviscerated. I'm just imagining, again, this is just a paying Christian. I'm just imagining it's not a lot of upper tier people being let go. I'm thinking about the workers that got to put their boots on. I'm thinking about the workers that got to put on the hazmat suits and got to go out there and check it. I'm
I'm thinking
thinking
about
it's
them too,
those.
but
I'm
I'm positive there's other people that we talked about yesterday. Supreme
Absolutely.
Court ruling, like she's an upper tier person in the government who
Yeah.
just got fired,
Yes.
and the
You're
appeals
right.
court,
You're
just
right.
said
You're
they
right.
can do that. So yeah, it's not it's both. It's all people of all
It's
levels,
all
as
people.
long as
Yes.
you are they first of all they're getting rid of whole departments that we need. Then then we're getting rid of people who are control of the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. What was her name? I forget her name. We talked about her yesterday, but excuse me.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Oof,
but
let me look her
yeah,
up.
I'll look her up real quick. But she was fired by Trump, and now there's no protections for the consumer. The companies, corporations can do whatever they want. To
Rebecca
Rebecca, I
Kelly
knew Rebecca.
Slaughter and Alvaro
Okay,
Bedoya.
okay,
And they were two Democratic commissioners on the FTC. And again, we talked about it. Okay, so you fire those people, but then we hear about names that are added to the trade section, or who wrote the trade section of Project 2025, like Peter Navarro, who is a top trade advisor. So when we're seeing things like that, and when we're hearing things like that, you got a writer of Project 2025 who's a top trade advisor, and then you got two commissioners that work for or work with the Federal Trade Commission. That's like,
all connected.
hmm,
Yeah,
this shit don't look right. And once you raise that, they firing your ass because
yeah,
they wrote something that they still Schedule F is back in place, so now they can do so.
exactly. And I want y'all to just think for a second. Do you want to live in a country or have a government that does not protect you against these multi-million dollar, billion dollar corporations with how much they can charge you for anything that's just out of reach, or have monopolies, or work together to make sure that a mom and pop shop does not succeed. You can't even start a business now because they are going to smother you. And the FTC is there to protect certain things and mechanisms so that doesn't happen. Now they're just going to put somebody in that they want to benefit one of Trump's buddies, or one of and or some way that he can even make money off of it because he's a
But
business in
but
his
they
own
got
right.
and they got the Supreme Court to back it, bro. So when
Yeah,
they make these firings, correct, and you don't have protection and you try to take it to court, they literally just had a landmark case, Trump versus Slaughter. Literally, she
okay,
got named Slaughter. That nigga named Trump. Trump versus Slaughter. Supreme Court ruled 6-3. Why wouldn't they? He just appointed goddamn three niggas. That's the
yeah,
swing vote. Them the three right there. If it was lockjaw 3-3, nigga, the three niggas he put in there make it 6-3 if you know how to do math.
yeah. He definitely has probably, I think, more Supreme Court appointees than any other president, and I don't know how he finessed that, bro. But and Clarence Thomas is a fucking coon. I'm sorry for the opinions coming out,
Hey,
but
no, nope, reel him back. Nope, you got to do it. Like I did it for me. Reel
I
it back
got.
in,
I'm gonna
nigga.
reel it back. I'm gonna reel it back. But guys, this is what's happening, and it's all was said in Pride 2025, man. Schedule F. Remove that shit first, so we can get the people in that will do what we want. That's a conservative thing. That was their, and this is very nefarious. This is not like when you read Pride 2025, it's not a document that's like, hey, we have a country full of different people. Let's look at all sides of the coin and figure out how to best do this. No,
No,
they are pushing their agenda. This is a strictly I'm not gonna say propaganda because they're doing it. It's an active plan to take
manifest.
control.
It's a
It's a
manifesto.
manifesto to take control of the company and make it in their image. Now, we talked about also yesterday, or was it yesterday or the day before? The Bible being taught in Texas, right? And how they're now legally teaching the Bible in Texas to kids K through 12, and they're stripping out, world history and civil rights teaching and watering down, the impacts of
This just pissed
slavery.
me off again. This
I'm
just pissed
sorry,
me
bro.
off
I
again.
know,
You know
I
why it
know.
pissed me off? Because who is the director of the Department of Education?
Look, man.
Nigga, she used to get hit in the head with a chair.
She got tombstone, bro. She,
She got super kick. She got stuttered.
she got Soko Center.
She got drugged and watched her husband make out with Trish Stratus. She not fit.
She is not. And
Not
how old
fit.
is she, yo? She's old. She's been old for a long time.
Hold on. This the shit that's gonna kick. This the shit that's gonna kick your ass, bro. I don't think that motherfucker got a college degree.
Wow, I did not know that.
I don't think Linda McMahon went to college. Now she might have an honorary, but I don't think Linda McMahon has a college degree, if I'm being dead ass. My man Chidi about to fact check me right here on the spot.
Okay,
He
she went
about
to
to
college.
fact. She went to. I said a college degree. Nigga, we all went to ECC.
She graduated
Nigga,
in 1969 with a bachelor's degree in French and teaching certificate. Well, she has a teaching certificate. She has a bachelor's degree in French, and she has a teaching certificate.
wait, they give you a degree for French? So this motherfucker ain't even got a degree in English? A degree in French? That's made up, bro. She sound like Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I need to see a dissertation, bitch. I need to see him. I need to see something.
Yeah, so she's currently the United States Secretary of Education. She was appointed in March 2025. And now this is where we go to the next part of Project 2025 that really is going to harm it's going to harm us for a long term. The ramifications are extremely dire. We just talked about Texas.
Our kids are already dumb. Let's be straight. Let's be sure. I'm like this ain't no opinion. We see these, like Dr. Umar said, we gonna have to get rid of some of these niggas forever. Some of these niggas got to go in the dirt.
Like, she's actively, Linda McMahon, she's actively managing what she terms a final mission to downsize the United States Department of Education. So her administration is transferring multiple core programs, including K through 12 oversight, higher education, and civil rights enforcement to other federal entities like the Department of Labor and Justice. Her main priorities center around expanding universal school choice, which is privatization, as we talked about yesterday, the day before yesterday, and elevating alternative career paths like apprenticeships. Okay, so let's go to Project 2035 and see how it relates to what she's now helping the government implement. And this is the executive order, exactly. So they named it Improving Education Outcomes by Empowering Parents, States, and Communities. If you notice a trend, they like to name
these niggas are dumb.
Yeah.
We come on people. Like now, people, this is what I'm trying to say, people. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just providing you with the information. We taking education advice from niggas who got a degree in French. My bad. Go ahead.
Not even social work. You know, social work I would respect more.
Bro, nigga, I would take it if the motherfucker said general studies, my nigga. If the bitch just took every class curriculum and what French was your motherfucking specialty, nigga. Oh me.
Yeah. So the Project 2025 page is page 319. And this calls for abolishing the Department of Education entirely, bro.
Yes.
Sick. Why would you want that to happen? Like, why would you want to abolish the entire Department of Education?
Them niggas saw them rankings rankings of our kids and said, "Fuck it, we can't beat China."
Just like Chris just said. Why would you want to abolish the entire Department of Education? Do you want people to be dumb? Like, you know?
Yes. We want people to be fucking idiots. We don't want them to know. We don't want them to read. We don't want them to know what they're reading. We don't want them to know when they say improving education outcomes comes by empowering parents, states, and community. That's how they want us to read. And then they want us not to know what the fuck this means.
Yeah. Um, we can't let these people win, man. It's going to harm this country for the long term. And they're talking, oh, do you want China to beat us? Then how are we gonna beat China if we are not taking seriously our education? Like, we can't just be guys we can't just be beholden to AI chatbots. We don't want our kids to
TD,
just be AI robots. Listen,
can I
our
ask you a question? I'm so sorry. Can I ask you a
go ahead.
question? Can I ask you a question real quick? I'm just so sorry. I know I speak and ask for revolts a lot during this time, right? And you say you pull me back. I'm legitimately asking you if the next fucking president does not sign an executive order the first day they are in, what am I allowed to say or do that I didn't do right now?
Here's what I think we should do, and we'll get closer as we get closer to that time.
Okay.
We need to come up with a checklist, our own manifesto, our own
Project 2028.
yeah, Project 2029. Our own list of what do you call it? Must. Like there's these are the must things that the next president must address. I know there's a better word for it, but our our borders, our boundaries of like what we accept, what is the most important things for this country. Right now, the biggest conversation is the war in Iran and Israel packed money. Guys, a lot of things are happening. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say it probably every day on this podcast. A lot of things are happening under your nose. And a lot of things are happening that are going to make you poor next year and the year after. And you're going to wonder why. And then you're going to blame it on the war. A lot of things have nothing to do with the war that are also a cause of your suffering. And I think we need to be able to understand that and tackle these things directly. Don't get me wrong, the war is definitely affecting your gas prices, but it's
Yeah.
not the thing affecting why you can't find a job. You know, it's not the thing affecting why your water supply is dirty. It's not the thing affecting why your kids are not learning, civil rights and they don't know the history of this country. So when you look at then you go and you look at this project 2025 page 3 of 19, which is calling for the abolishing of the entire Department of Education. I want to ask people who support Trump and what he did, which is he signed an executive order on March 2025 directing the Secretary of Education, Linugman, to begin the process of closing the Department of Education. And it's an $11 billion cut that has already been initiated. And Linda McMahon has publicly said that the goal is to eliminate the department, which is absolutely absurd. Let me find out how long has the department been active.
Department of Education.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Probably from the beginning of time.
yeah.
And
And
like
guys, you can look at all these things on the WhiteHouse.gov, and these are the presidential actions, the right here. These are the executive orders. Executive Order 4242, by authority vested in the President of the Constitution and laws of the United States to enable parents, teachers, and communities to best ensure students' success, is hereby ordered. Section 1, Purpose Policy. Our nation's bright future relies on empowered families. See, the language is very pretty, but what they're doing is very disgusting. They engage in communities and excellent education opportunities for every child. Unfortunately, the experiment of controlling America's education through federal programs and dollars and the unaccountable bureaucracy of those programs and dollar support has plainly failed our children and our teachers and our families. And it starts to say that our taxpayer money went to schools during the pandemic. They want to reduce that. You can read through it all here. And this all plays into the systematic deletion of the Department of Education, which was talked about in Project 2025. Now, why would they want to do that? Why would they want to delete the Department of Education? And like Chris is saying, we want to ask you that question so you guys can think. Critically think. Why would they want to delete the Department of Education? Why? And who's doing it? Like, these are conservative think tanks who are saying we should delete it completely. Even though there are, different cities and states who have really great educational programs, who are learning about all types of different things, whose scores are high, they're kids who are getting accepted in different Ivy League schools from different places on the country, who are going on to become scientists and going on to become doctors and engineers. Why would they want to delete this? I think what they want is
Mm.
to, and this is me adding in my opinion. I just want not even an opinion. I just want you to look up the the educational the privatization of education. The private Just look that up, guys, on your own. I'm not going to tell you what to think. I just want you to think and think about privatization of education, and look up what's the benefits of it and what's the negatives of it, and then think about what people are going to be able to get the higher education, people where they actually are teaching about everything to do with taxes and how to make money, financial literacy, and the people who won't have schooling at all, and what their lifestyle and livelihood will be. A lot of times we talk about people in the hood or people in the trailer park, and we want to just like blame them for their conditions and say they're not working hard when they've been taught to live on survival. Me and Chris here have a luxury to learn and teach you guys. Where there are some people who are like, dude, I'm just trying to figure out how to eat. I don't know if I'm going to eat tomorrow. So if you don't have the education to get a job, even at you don't got a GED, it's hard to even get a job if you don't got a GED. You know, if they didn't get through school, how do I even get the job at Target when they're going to hire somebody else who at least has a high school diploma? You know, and then you're stuck with a place that in a condition where you have to figure out how to do more with less, and you have
Hmm.
no reason why things are set up this way. We don't want more of that, guys. We want less of that. And how we get less of that is we fund schools. We don't defund schools. We give more funding to schools in these areas so they have more educations, have more opportunities, and maybe do something with their life that's better. Because what you're going to do is you're going to force them into a lifestyle that is criminal and then judge them for it because they didn't work hard enough. But now we're stripping away the tools for them to be educated to do things in the world we're creating, in the new world, where it's all technology based, So like, I just want just people to think about that because if we privatize education completely, there are going to be people who can't afford education, and then what we do? Homeschoolers?
Well, we all
You have the
no.
mom.
I mean, no, 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 no.
Then we have
You
the
know what they
mom
already
has
do.
to stop work and homeschool her child. Like, it's a
That's
problem.
not that's not going to happen. You know what they're going to do. That's the school to prison pipeline. Right? You forget about that. You forget it.
We got to
Mom
talk about that
mom
on Receipts Night too one of these days.
mom can't
Hmm.
stop going to work. Dad can't stop going to work. Homeschool where? How? What you mean? Like, no, if you already see those areas where you live at right now that are underperforming and underfunded, you see what those schools look like. You see what those students look like. You see how those students act. You see the type of activities that burden that community. Once that's for cheap, you buy it up, you kick them out, we
Mm.
fix it up, and then we charge niggas to come back. That's the game.
And if they don't, then we're stuck in a place where it's a like you said, the school to prison pipeline, and we just recreate slavery. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Go ahead. So I think we kind of and when my guy gets back, oh, I got the solo shot. I ain't got my baby up. Let me put my baby up. You know what I'm saying? That's my nana, man. That's my grandma Weezy, man. Um, as we continue to talk about things like that, she's the reason why I think kind of the way I think. My grandmother's in a nursing home right now. My grandmother, receives government assistance. My grandmother needs Medicare, Medicaid, it's a random drawing. You don't know it. I don't know if she's one of those names that get cut. I don't know if she's one of those 33 million people who will be affected by this legislation. And then what does that do, right? I'm being selfish here. The receipts is, I have three little boys here, and my mom doesn't make have the time really to come down to see the boys because she's the caretaker for my grandma. You know what I'm saying? And along with Uncle George and Aunt Stephanie, and shout out to cousin Kenny, who for sure does his part, and Sister Precious. But realistically, it's still a group family effort while receiving government assistance and being able to fund where she's at right now. You know what I'm saying? And help with cheaping on the medicine. Because Lord knows we can't talk about if they really charge what they want to charge for the medicine. Nobody will be able to afford the medicine, bro. Like they'll just be making medicine just to fucking make it. Who got the money to pay the prices that they put on medicine? So like these conversations, these awakenings, are real personalized. We just talk about the Department of Education. Again, I got three boys. They're all right now in nigga. You know what I'm saying? I think CJ starts first grade, but we talked about Robert F. Kennedy being appointed Department of Health and Human Services, and he's talking about how autism um, in such a degrading, demeaning way as my son has, autism. You know what I mean? Like it's infuriating waking up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's I think that's the thing that causes a lot of the apathy. That's the stuff that causes a lot of the despair. That's the stuff that causes a lot of the angst. Like honestly, the shit that happens between me and my family and the emotions that I go through, it really rarely. Well, let me not lie on them. It got some stuff to do with them, but so, like if I had a pie chart, days that they catch me on, days where it has nothing to do with them, is very significant based off of me just learning. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the part you be like, damn, do I even want to learn anymore? Like, do I even want to? And that's what they want. You know what I mean? So you have to actively, as Men's Mental Health Month ended yesterday, I don't give a fuck. Men's Mental Health Month is every day that I'm alive, nigga, because I need that help, nigga. So with that being
100%.
said, like, you go through those mental battles where you like, I don't want to learn. I don't want to awaken myself. I don't want to, and unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. When Chidi says the luxury of learning, it's not. It's a burden. It's a burden of learning because you have to be educated in this
Well,
in right now. And
you're
go
a
ahead. I'm
burden.
sorry.
It's the burden of knowledge for sure.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
learning is a luxury. There's not a lot of people who get
You're right.
to
You're right.
know the
You're right.
reasons and causes of
You're
things.
right. You're
Learning,
right. You're right.
trust me, like if we listen, I know to some degree we are pawns and puppets. Absolutely. But
Absolutely.
not to the degree of somebody who's walking around falling into the traps of drugs, falling into the traps of crime, falling into the traps of you know, um, whether it be just the child support system, like, and not understanding it at all. Your life is just, so you can have no way of getting out of the system. So you're perpetually, whether you are in a crime system where you are, the recidivism is almost guaranteed for like a lot of people because they have no way to even live on the outside because opportunities aren't there. Most of those people who have degrees, like full on degrees, they can't, like, there's no opportunities. Much less a guy who came out of the pen. How do you have to have a lot strong willpower, And I'm not condoning crime at all. I'm just saying just the other side of the coin of not understanding the world we live in and falling into the pitfalls and traps that cause you to be uh, the thug they want to describe you as, make you become a statistic of crime, make you become a statistic of what immigration and they bring in drugs. No, listen, people are doing things to make ends meet because they feel like they have no other options a lot of the times. I'm not talking about the people that are doing it out of the love of the game. There are a lot of people who are doing it because they don't have the options to live a life like
Yes.
a Bible Belt conservative and just pull themselves up by their bootstraps and work on the farm or get in my Christian youth youth group and now be given a nepotism job at the city council, and now next thing you know I am mayor or governor of the state. They don't get that opportunity, guys. So let's be realistic. We're talking about defunding a whole department that is meant to educate the vast majority of the country, and give them information on what's really going on, you know. But yeah, I hope I pray that one that you take this burden and the weight of this burden as a burden and a blessing in a sense, because it is tough, and I don't I hope you're not going through too much because ignorance is bliss. It is bliss to not know, and some extent ignorance is bliss. So in some sense you're right. It is a complete burden to be knowledgeable about these things. So rather than just living a life where you know you get to
and and
be ignorant of
and
it
that's why
all.
I said the duality of that, because
Yeah,
to be a real, for me, this is an opinion based, of course, because what is a real man? This is back to the masculinity thing, but growing up, the ideology of what a real man was, when I look at people who are scholars or everything like that, they yearn for knowledge, right? Like they wanted to learn. Even when you go to sports, right? To sports analogy, the guys you looked up to is the guys who always are in the film room, always studying, always watching the game before them, what they can get from, you know what I mean? Like, so you take that and you embody that, and now you live in the information age. We are stamped that is what we are in. And in the information age during the digital age, because now we're stamped in that too. So I've lived through, I'm living through two ages, right? And in the information age, when you still had atlases and encyclopedias and things of that nature, and then the opening up of the internet, where the infancy of learning things was blissful. It was like, oh shit, I can
yeah,
find
man.
rap lyrics online. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember getting the first colored Macintosh computers in our computer
Yeah, I
lab.
remember that too. Yeah,
In school. Like, so, like, the information age was new and very exciting. And now during this digital age, when you have a lot of falseness, a lot of false claiming, a lot of now AI duping. You have a lot of uh, also just plain flat out, people don't care about a digital footprint, right? We just started off the show with Trump lying and got a Truth Social. And then nigga, the first day in policy, he signing motherfucker the first day in office, he's signing policies, and the digital footprint don't matter. So in
right.
this digital age, my nigga, we are evaporating. Like, we're not evolving. And that is the scary part, because
Yeah,
the more I learn about that, I'm just like, damn, I'm rotting in an age where people are caring less but knowing more.
yeah. It's dangerous because, like I said, it pisses me off to be involved with a society that is promoting willful ignorance, because what it does is it makes you domicile as a people, and we don't get to hold anybody accountable, and there's no checks and balances. And this is, in my lifetime, this is the most power I've seen and been aware of, how much we are beholden to corporations and government overreach. And they want to make it seem like, oh, we're giving the states, no, they're not giving the states any type of rights. They are trying to control you. The corporations primarily, mind you, are trying to control your life, and that's through legislation because they got money. So they're going to be friends with people like Trump who also got money, who are also crooks. And what they want is for us to not be educated that, or to know that while Instagram is promoting this, kids online safety, oh, we got Instagram for teens accounts now, which we should have had like maybe 10, 20 years ago. Now you finally figured that out in 2026. Yeah, okay. So now they're pushing that. And while they're doing that, there's hundreds of lawsuits against them that they want to have no accountability for what they've done. They don't want you to know these things, but you as the public should know these things so that you can be aware and fight against it, or at least protect your family against it. And if they reduce education, there's no even incentive to question anymore. We become a society like freaking North Korea, who literally thinks the sun shines out of Kim Jong's ass. Kim Jong Un could be dead right now. They don't even know. They wouldn't know. We wouldn't even know because people will believe completely whatever the government tells them. Now, I believe in the whole human spirit. I believe in the soul, and I do believe that in the end, good people will win. But this time in my life right now is the most I've seen evil winning, and I do think it's evil to make a society ignorant and intentionally make them ignorant for a long period of time. And that's exactly what this executive order is doing, and exactly what Linda McMahon is going to be responsible for, and what her legacy is going to be, is making the American people and the children of America more and more ignorant.
But shout out to Ashley B, because we found this out, and shout out to us regurgitating that information. When you talk about life being run by corporations and conglomerates and things of that nature, and people being in Supreme Court justices and linking up with the president to sign executive orders, this has been going on for decades. Like, we just educated ourselves. We are, again, like Chidi's like, Chidi asked me, said, Chris, if I get back in this, what is the angle? What are we going to be doing? Like, what is this? What is the purpose of me dedicating my life back to being in front of the camera and not making no money off this shit? And I said,
Yes.
bro, we are educating the ignorant right now. We are, every day when we're talking about James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett and being involved in Texas primary runs when we live in fucking Florida and New York, we're educating the ignorant and we're expanding ourselves. And then that brought us all the way to where we're at right now. Right. And I think it's highly important for us to continue to harp on what Trump is doing. A, is not new, but B, it's new, because we have never saw such a groundswell of uninformed people making life altering decisions
Thank you.
by supporting things that they do not understand. And
And
we've
supporting
never
things
been in
that,
that. Yes.
no, and supporting things that effectively harm them. That's like is against their own self-interest. Trust me, people. Even if you are a Christian, you do not want them teaching the Bible in schools. That's not
Because
the place
everybody
for it.
don't practice the same fucking we every they're teaching a Bible that Catholics don't read. They're teaching the King James Protestant Bible to children who do not practice that
I
religion.
guarantee there's going to be a parent that's going to whoop somebody's ass because of this.
On me.
I
On
really
me.
do.
And I want, and I know it's gonna be who I think it is, but I hope is who I want it to be. But I know who I know who gonna whip somebody ass. And her name is gonna be Jackie.
All right, moving on. Listen, this is gonna be now. There's a couple of things that correlate directly to Project 2025 that we are not going to touch on completely, but we want to give you the broad strokes, and
Absolutely.
we'll run it down, to end this pod. But we got to talk about the Ensuring Accountability for All Agencies Act, because we just talked about accountability yesterday and how Donald Trump is all about unaccountability. So let's talk about how he completely reflected what they did on, I think, what was it, page? I forget what page it was,
Oh,
but
for this for
independent
oh,
agencies,
independent
this,
agencies.
yeah, yeah. And we talked about independent agencies, the FTC, and all that stuff yesterday, and what the Supreme Court just ruled. But this goes directly to Project 2025. We talked about it yesterday, but
Yes.
this is their plan in action. That
This was
ruling
one of the
is
core structural changes in that document. This was
they are
core.
ruining the Constitution, guys. Like they're going
And
against what the country said we're going to be built on completely.
91 years. This was a legal precedent. 91 years. This was a legal precedent. This executive order puts agencies, again, like we talked about, the FTC, the EEOC, things of that nature, under direct presidential control, ending their independence. Right. So when we're asking you, do you know what you're voting for? Do you know they're ending the independence of agencies who look out for
For you.
you?
And they said one man gets to control that. President of the United States.
They don't listen to Kanye.
Yeah, they don't.
That's what it is. They don't listen to Kanye.
Listen, no one man should have all this power. And if you were a little bit educated, you should understand why you don't want your entire livelihood being in the power of one person. This is the reason why we don't have kings. This is why we have a democratic process and checks and balances. Listen, man, Trump, he fired commissioners at all these agencies: the FTC, the NLRB, the CPSC, the EEOC, as you mentioned. Um, and actually, we mentioned that the Supreme Court ruled that 63 had the right to do exactly that, overturning 91 years of legal precedent, guys. The Project 2025 specifically opposed the 1935 Humphreys executor ruling, which what it called for was to be they called for it to be overturned, and it was overturned this week. So that was the precedent of keeping these departments completely independent, so that they are not beholden to a specific party or a specific, presidential administration.
Goes back to
So
Schedule F because it connects, my people. And if you don't fuck with what he got going on, he just said exactly what he did. Yeah,
yeah,
hit him with a motherfucking Vinnie Mac, nigga.
I mean, he hit him with his own traditional Donald Trump, dude.
Oh
This
shit!
this man has brought The Apprentice to the White House. He's literally saying, "You're fired. You're fired. You're fired." Listen, and guys, let me. You talk. 'Cause I can't even.
You can only laugh sometimes, bro, because what we're talking about here, man. And I know this seems like we talk about this all the time. But what we're trying to get through to you realistically is that these things are happening without real knowledge because again, we're not talking to you like you're dumb and you're behind. Please don't misconstrue uh the urgency in which we talk or the passion in which we talk as us like how didn't you know, how didn't you see? We admit it, we did not all the way understand and buy into what Project 2025 was during, again, when it was placed out in 2023. This is what we're talking about. The election is 2024. So hear what we're saying. April 2023, this document, this manifesto was made public and put it in front of the American people's faces, like you and me and Chidi and we was like, these niggas just like so we are responsible too. But we voted. We voted
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
voted we
And
voted against not just Project 2025, just Trump in general. So we voted and we put our vote where our fucking mouth was, and we watched the results the way that everybody else watched the results. And this is what now, again, I know how to read, I know how to interpret. I did not know and think that this guy, first day FDO, was going to be like, yeah, I endorse every fucking thing I said I had no knowledge of. And I'm
exactly.
just watching it while life is lifing.
I want to let y'all know why this ensuring accountability for all agencies is harmful for even doesn't matter what party you are, Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal. This is not good that the Trump regime or Trump himself can fire people and control it, and not keep the department independent from him. Because I'm going to give you two examples. Let's put it this way. So this FTC is it's about protecting every American essentially from being ripped off. So your political affiliation does not protect you from price fixing, fraud, or monopoly pricing, guys. And now the agency whose entire job was it to stop that answers to whoever the president is, not just Trump. Now going forward, whoever the president is. And I'm just going to give you two examples of what this actually means in real life. So the FTC has been one of the most aggressive agencies in recent years at going after pharmaceutical companies for anti-competitive behavior, specifically a practice called pay for delay. Pay for delay. Now, this is where a brand name drug company pays a generic drug company to to stay off the market. Excuse me. So the brand name company can keep charging high prices. The FTC has filed lawsuits and won cases that saved Americans from consumers from billions of dollars on generic medications. A Republican voter in Ohio who takes generic blood pressure medication, a generic diabetes drug, or a generic cholesterol medication has benefited from the FTC enforcement without knowing it. Now, because competition between generic and brand name companies is what keeps that prescription drug affordable, and now that can be removed completely, guess what happens to the price of the drugs? Now the brand name company can pay that company to stop selling their shit so they can charge higher. So I'm going to pay you a little bit and charge enough so I can cover that cost. And next thing you know, there's nothing that you can do but pay the high price for your drugs. You will be going into debt for your blood pressure medication, essentially. Next, now the FTC commissioners answers directly to the president. So the pharmaceutical industry is one of the biggest political donors in Washington. If a future president of either party decides it is more politically useful to ease up on pharmaceutical enforcement than to pursue it, there is now no independent body to push back. The commissioner who has persuaded that case can simply be fired and replaced with somebody who won't. The result for the Republican voter in Ohio is that their generic medications gets more expensive or disappears from the market entirely because the company keeping it cheap got sued out of existence. And they have no idea why. They will be none the wiser and they will still vote red while they are literally going to the hospital figuring out why this price is so high. Now, also think about example two. Let's think about big tech, right? And think about your phone bill. The FTC has been the primary agency investigating and suing Google, Meta, and Amazon for monopolistic practices, specifically for buying up competitors before they can grow into real competition, and for using their platform dominance to crush smaller businesses. Now, this is not a left right issue. Republican owned small businesses, Republican consumers, and Republican voters in rural areas with limited internet options are all directly affected when Google can continually dominate to digital advertising. Now, whether Amazon can continue to squeeze third-party sellers and whether telecom companies can continue to merge until your internet provider has no real competitor in your area. Now, here's a specific harm. If the FTC no longer pursues Google advertising monopoly because the current president has a friendly relationship with Google's leadership, or if the FTC backs off an Amazon investigation because Amazon has committed to building a warehouse in a politically important state, the Republican small business owner who sells on Amazon and is getting squeezed by Amazon's own competing products has nowhere to go. The Republican family in rural Kentucky has only one internet provider charging whatever the hell they want because the FTC stopped blocking telecom mergers, has nowhere to go. The through line for both of these examples is that the FTC's independence was not democratic protection. It was protection against whoever had access to whoever was president at any given moment. Republicans who support free market competition should be among the most alarmed by this ruling, because what just got removed is the referee, essentially. And a game without a referee does not stay competitive. It becomes a game where the biggest player makes the rules. And that player has never been small businesses owners from Ohio or anywhere else, and has never been a family in rural Kentucky. So with that being said, you figure out if this is something that you would like to see continue. And this is all due to Trump abiding by Project 2025 and backing that conservative think tank on how they want to reshape American policy. Now, there's more, but we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of it. I'm just going to rattle this off for you guys because I don't want to talk your ear off tonight. But if you get the time, look into it. You can find all this online. It's all real. So we have also the federal workforce unions, man. Project 2025 called for weakening federal employee unions and stripping collective bargaining rights. Surprise, surprise. Trump signed an executive order stripping collective bargaining rights from federal workers in 18 departments. The National Treasury Employees Union expects to lose tens of thousands of members as a result. Now, they also are withdrawing from international agreements. Project 2025 called for the withdrawal of the World Health Organization and the Paris Climate Agreement. Trump withdrew from both of them on January 20th, 2025, in his first day back in office. Project 2025 called for eliminating federal funding for public broadcasting. That means defunding NPR and PBS. And what did Trump do? He signed an executive order on March 2026 directing the defunding of NPR and PBS specifically. Both organizations have challenged it in court. We'll see what happens. And then military deportations. Project 125 called for using active military duty personnel to carry out immigration enforcement and mass deportations. And what have we seen over the past year and a half? Trump declared a national emergency at the southern border and deployed active duty troops to assist with immigration enforcement and deportation operations. And now we have ICE running through the streets, just picking people up. So you make the case for if this Project 2025 agenda is what the Trump administration has been doing. You make the case on if this is something that is truly, truly good for this country going forward. And you decide, you decide. After you know all the information, you decide. Because we're here just to give you the receipts on that. Now, what else is on the checklist? You want to get on to Block 4 and rattle off what they did?
Well, I think, I would say rattle off, what's still to be done realistically, but that's in Block 4 because they still got some things on the checklist, but I do at the as we are talking right now, and like you say, quote unquote, talking their ear off. I think we need to be more averse to receiving information, rather than turning off. I do find myself having the struggle of that, but this is real because as we're listening and understanding and finding out new things, what it is that's out there now is not technically Project 2026, but it's you can find it Heritage 2.0. So there are things still to come. There's things that they want called restoring the nuclear family, restoring America's promise. Like, what does that mean? Like, what is America's promise, right? And essentially, it explicitly is defined as a married man and a woman parenting children. Language critics say is that designed to undermine same-sex marriage and erase transgender people from federal policy. So that is again something that is still yet to come on their checklist. They also are trying to again enact something that was literally
Real quick. Sorry,
yes.
just
Go
to
ahead,
interrupt
brother.
you, but you're never going to get everybody to be straight. It's never going to happen. Like the logic, you just said they said common sense, right? Prop 25 is about common sense. Common sense is that man and woman and children and all this stuff. You cannot force people to do what you want them to do in their bedroom. Like you just can't. Where's the common sense in that?
Well, I
And
mean,
why is this such an obsession? You know what I mean?
it's an obsession because they. Okay, never mind. I'll save it for Friday. This is not conspiracy corner. This is facts. But I think the realistic nature of it is that they
They want to track all births and abortions nationally. Put you in a database if you have all your births and this
well
is a
what no what they're trying to do is this is for okay. I'm stuttering here because when you're like they trying to force people to be straight. I don't even know what the obsession of that is, but it's not only that. It's the obsession with um it's the
I'm not even
obsession
saying that
with
they're trying to force people to be straight. I'm just saying that
no,
it's
but
not
that's
going
what
to
I'm that,
happen. Like so, like when you talk about common sense, okay, I'm straight. I believe in like a husband, wife, and kids, all that stuff. But I'm not trying to force my beliefs on other people like that. Like I think it's very invasive to do that with abortion and with people's sexuality and how they live. I just think it's so invasive to think that the entire country is going to go and believe this stuff and abide by you. You're talking about people in California, Atlanta, New York, Miami. You're talking about across the states. Doesn't matter. Yes, there is gay people in Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio. They're all over the place. So I want you to understand, like, yo, even writing this down and saying this is what a Republican president should do or a conservative president should do is absurd because it's not realistic because all you're doing is going to be ostracizing people and making them hate themselves or trying to turn the country into a place that causes more hate and division and hurts the
that's what
people
they
that
want. That's what they want. Unfortunately, I know I said this is not conspiracy court.
nah,
That
you're right, you're
is
right, you're
that
right.
that because when we're breaking it down again, why would you not want a fruitful, prosperous, forward-thinking society that accentuates and moves with the times?
Especially here in
Because
America.
no,
Land of the
because they
free, home of
want
the brave,
they
freedom
want
of
the
speech,
times to
freedom of
be
religion.
what they want the times to be of what they create the times to be. They have always dictated the times.
Aren't they tired of arguing? Like that's what you're trying to do is create more arguments.
Oh,
Just
No,
these.
no, bro. But you got to think about no. You got to understand. They're not arguing. They're not arguing. They are collecting the world's wealth. They are collecting the world's wealth. They are dictating how we argue. They, the one who
Mm,
control the media. They control the mergers of the media. They control the conglomerates of the media. They don't argue about shit. They argue about splits and percentages, my nigga.
facts.
They don't argue about the rights of people because the people that are doing the things are doing nefarious things. We not talking about corruption. We talk about the stuff that they telling you that is wrong because they doing it and they know it's wrong.
Oh my God. You're right. You're right. How stupid can I be? No, no, you cannot be, bro. You're right. You're right. It gets me because when they say common sense, I'm like, all right, let me just follow your train of thought and as if it's real. Like I try to like be open minded and follow this absurdity and try to find like,
But
okay, how
that's
did you
where they
come to this?
get you.
When you say how did you guys come to this conclusion? How did you guys start to think this way? Why do you guys think this way? I'm trying to give them the grace. I'm like, okay, let's see why you thought about this way. You said common sense and all this stuff, and then you're saying no, y'all can't do nothing different than how we say, and y'all can't. We gotta control your bedroom. We gotta control how you're pregnancy. We gotta know if you had abortion or not. We gotta know. They're trying to ban pornography at a federal level. Like it gets to a point where it's like, what are you? Is this the most
But you got to think. But you got to think about
concerning
America.
thing?
No, but you got to understand. As America is not as thriving financially as we would like to, like China, we're not technologically advanced like Japan, right? We also don't listen to our motherfucking government like North Korea. I think America is jealous.
Of who?
I think all those people that I'm just telling you that
Korea?
you gotta. What I'm saying is you gotta.
Everything
Yes.
okay?
You hear me? Huh? Okay. I think for the
You
most
good?
part is that yeah. I'm you're take a solo.
Okay.
What I was gonna say is I think they are America sees other nations move the way that they have an idea of them moving. Like I said, how China they can control what niggas do and how they do it. North Korea can control what niggas do and how they do it.
Not here.
Japan can't control niggas how they do. And America is jealous because they are smart, they are financially literate, they don't really depend on us. We depend on them, right? So we got a little inferiority complex, little pee,
Okay.
little dick syndrome. I think America has.
All right. So I'm going through the checklist of what's coming up. So they're using the Comstock Act to ban abortion pills by mail nationally without needing Congress. This is still, pending. They're trying to ban pornography at the federal level, as I mentioned. Project 2025 explicitly calls for this. They already started in Florida, as as Chris showed us a couple days ago, last week. They want to end Head Start, the early education program servicing over 1 million low-income children annually. Project 2020 calls for eliminating it. They want to just end Head Start. They want no kids to get um, early education. They're pushing for Medicare patients toward private Medicare Advantage plans away from traditional Medicare, which will be affecting 33 million enrolled seniors. They're trying to track all births and abortions, as I mentioned previously, nationally. Project 2025 suggests that government tracking of pregnancy outcomes across country. They want us to go to jail for abortions, essentially. They want to politicize the Federal Reserve, bringing monetary policy under direct executive control. The Supreme Court blocked this temporarily this week, but the door is still not closed. And they want to, yeah, and that's it. Yeah, that's what things that are coming down the pipeline. So while I, I'm gonna while we wait for Chris, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all essentially why this matters for real people like you and me. So this is where I'm going to connect everything together because this is just an honest conversation at this point. Like, fuck the receipts. So the person who works a federal job can now be fired for political reasons under Schedule F. The kid in a Title I school whose funding is being cut because the Department of Education is being dismantled. Project 2025's proposal would eliminate 4.2 billion in Title I grants, removing the 72,000 teachers from classrooms serving the highest need students in the country. They would just remove them. The person on Medicaid who already lost coverage from the One Beautiful Bill cuts. The same document also calls for restructuring Medicare in ways that would affect 33 million seniors, where they have to privatize it and pay even more money for their medical insurance. Now, the FCC commissioner who was fired, the agency that is supposed to stop corporations from prefixing, false advertising, and monopolies, is now going to be run by whoever the president decides to run it. And the through line for this is that Project 2025 is not a set of abstract policy proposals. It is a numbered list of specific changes to specific agencies affecting specific programs that specific people depend on. Typically, people of color, people who are poor, people who they just don't give a fuck about. And this is across the states. No state is not going to be, this is federal, not going to be affected. So 53% of this plan is already done. So we have a lot of work to do to redo the hard work that has been uh, placed the foundational for like 90 years to reverse all this stuff, if we can even do it. And 47% is still coming down the line. They're still trying to get some more things passed. And now the document is public, so you guys can check it out. It's been public since 2023. Everything on the list was visible before any of it happening. And the question is not whether anyone could have seen it coming. The question is whether or not people are paying attention and whether they're paying attention now. So just take the time to look at this website here. Actually, let me go here and share this with you. Because if you go to, actually, let me go here first. Center for Progressive Reform. This website is progressivereform.org. They are tracking every single case or every single provision listed in Project 2025. Shout out to them. And you can just come down here to the list, and you can click on the Project 2025 Executive Action Tracker. It'll take you to a spreadsheet, and you can just click on whatever chapter from Project 2025. Chapter 2 was about U.S. Office of Management and Budget. You click on that. Actually, wait, hold on. Yeah, click on that. It will take you to what issues are listed in Project 2025, what the proposal was, and then we'll see if Trump completed it or if he attempted it. So when it comes to ensuring that policy officials personally sign what does that say? Apportionments, not career officials. Agencies should come from OMB for their funding allotment. That is an executive action that Trump has completed, and this is the Federal Register for that delegation appointment of authority. So, and it goes down the line for every organization and what he has attempted. Over here, he attempted the Office of Performance and Personal Management should obtain transparency about entities that are awarded federal contracts and grants and use government contracts to push back against woke policies and in corporate America. So this is against woke policies in corporate America. He tried that shit on January 20th, 2025. And right now that's still pending. So it hasn't been completed, but we'll see how that turns out. But if you can see, like under the Trump completed, there's a bunch of things that are already completed, you know? So you got things that he attempted, and then you have things that Trump proposed and are still active.
Are you showing them down there at the tab of the where it says contacts and info, where you got the OMB, education, energy,
Yeah,
EPA?
so that is exactly, yeah, this is all this stuff right here. So if you look at AG, but then if you want, if once you get into once you get into the docs down below, you can go to each,
each tab. Okay.
Yeah, you can go to each organization and what chapter it was discussed in Project 2025. You can see whether it was Congress that helped them or was it executive action. As you see, most of these things are executive actions. It's not like he's going through Congress to make these things happen. So like every single thing is executive action. Now I'm not like not even going through every single thing yet, but I've clicked on three tabs and every single thing that has been either completed or attempted has been through executive action. That's just Trump. So yeah, we can go to commerce and check it out too. All of them are executive actions. Executive action. So he's not even going through commerce to get majority to through Congress, excuse me, to get majority of these you know, policies and proposals through. He's just going ahead and writing executive orders nonstop. And y'all complained about Biden's auto pen. So here's where you guys can come in and do the fact checking yourself to find even more information on whatever department, whether it be the Treasury and what's going on there. He's attempted a couple things here, but he hasn't gotten it through. So thank God, because I don't really trust any of the stuff from Project 2025 that is going to be actually beneficial to the people of the United States.
Well, again, as we are paying attention to the pilot 2025, we also still need to maintain due diligence and watch out for, again, what possibly could be Project 2026, but it's not called Project 2026. It has been actively called and been promoted by Heritage President Kevin Roberts himself at Turning Point USA's America Fest on
Mm,
December 19th of 2025. It's called Heritage 2.0. Again, I just want to let you guys know that there is another project that they have already in place that they're talking about, and it's built around four cornerstones: the American family, the dignity of work in the future of free enterprise, national security, and the American heritage and citizenship. Those are the four cornerstones. So please, again, I'm trying to say we are trying to be ahead of the curve this time. We're
yeah.
going to be diligent and watch what they got going on for Project 2025 and the remainder of the 47% of the 500. I think the number that we have right now, just so you guys know the number, so we're not just giving you percentages and shit like that. The number of proposed bills that they had, policies, I'm sorry, was 532. That was what was tracked across more than 30 federal agencies. Within right now, as we're talking right now, I think 283 to 290 of those things have been already put in place. So again, they are moving rapidly. They are moving really fast on trying to get what they have accomplished. And so I think the biggest thing that we want for you guys to understand right now, and the biggest thing that we will kind of want to put across to you, is that I need you guys to understand and think about what it is that you're actually voting for. We're cutting Medicaid. We're attacking Social Security. We're eliminating public schools. Okay. Like there is a real gap between the ideology of what it is that you think this is and the real world consequences that's being happening right now. Right. There are real world consequences from the ideology of American first or
Yeah.
American heritage or whatever the case may be. Like we really have to be like they are trying to eliminate the same independence that you thought that you were voting for.
Exactly.
That that
Exactly.
is that is what that is what we want you to take from this. The independence and the people that protected your independence are the same things that they are eviscerating. They are eliminating. They are dismantling. They are, please just do more research and think through your thought process. That's
There's
all.
a no, you're right, man. And there's a quote I heard yesterday or day before, and it says, "What conservatives don't realize is that the average, you know, red county is now being pushed to be under more Sharia law than what they expected New York to be under Mamdani. What they thought Mamdani was going to bring to New York City, they are actually being put under that Sharia law in real time under their nose, and they don't even know about it. And that's something that you just think about because when they try to scare you with the words of socialism, communism, and all that stuff, under try to ask why. You know, why do they want me to be scared of that? You know, because if maybe there's some reason why.
Or ask them, do they know what or authoritarianism is, or
Totalitarianism, yeah.
totalitarian? Ask them. Okay, you don't want to be a socialist. You don't want to be a communist. Okay, do you want to operate under authoritarian? Do you want to have a king? Do you want to serve a king?
Mhm.
Like, I thought we eliminated our.
Do you want to be a serf? Live in serfdom to these corporations. You know, that's where we're going. You know, get in that factory and work your ass out. We need to get these data centers to be cooled. We need to get these packages from Amazon to be delivered. We need these groceries at Walmart to be shipped. Yeah, yeah. It don't matter if the price is going up tomorrow. Ship that shit.
What's the price? Prices going up. Price.
And with that beautiful rendition from Chris, let's get the fuck out of here. All right,
Oh
guys.
man,
It's been real. It's been real, man. Thank you for joining us on the first episode of
the
the
receipt
Receipts
room,
Room.
baby.
I'm sorry, I'm a little slow right now. This is the Receipts Room. Thank you guys for joining us. If you're here with us, we love you, man, for just being part of our first couple of subscribers. Please just subscribe if you aren't. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We would love to have you part of the gang, part of the Everything Is community. We will be giving this, new idea and this new branded show, which will be improved upon as we continue to grow every single week, every Wednesday. And, so we got a show for you now where we're going to show you the receipts directly, live and direct, of what we are breaking down for you and why you should be attuned to it. And you can see it right on our screen, live and direct. Then on Friday, we got the Conspiracy Corner, where it's more not about the receipts. We're going to go ahead and, delve into the theories and what could be with a lot of,
Hey, you know what's crazy? MK Ultra in the zeitgeist right now. You got the representative. You got Luna up there at Congress talking crazy right now, man. I gotta bring. I save it for you. But yeah, man, y'all come back Friday.
Paulina Luna.
You already know, buddy.
Oh man, shoot! Wasn't that the girl who was using Claude?
Come on, she with us. She with us.
Oh my God, the Instagram chick. Okay, we'll talk more about MK Ultra on Friday, man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun show. Thank y'all for joining us here on Wednesday. We love to bring to y'all information and inform the masses. Just as we always say, we're here to talk about everything that matters. And I think this is very important. What we just talked about Project 2025 and how it's being implemented right now. Trump is doing things that I didn't even know President could do. And I'm just hopefully we can take some people and get them more informed on how this is being done, why it's important, and talk to your people, talk to your family, talk to your friends about this so they can be informed on why things are changing in this country. But yeah, man, where everything is, we talk about everything that matters. We are the zeitgeist, we are the culture. Everything is everything. Please keep love first in your hearts and spirit, man. Today, a man and woman climbed the Empire State Building and they got engaged up there and then went to jail. But they got engaged up there, and they had a flag, and it said, "The power of love is greater than the power of the power. The power of love is greater than the love of power," or something to that expression. And they risked their life and their freedom to do that. I hope these people get off because that display is what the world truly needs. I try to keep myself in the framework of a mindset of love first, and that's why I wear this hat. And that helps me get through the day. That helps me get through these dire circumstances and makes me reflect on the future and reflect on where I'm at and believe in the future of where we're going. Because I believe that more people who have love and kindness will change the world we live in and the circumstances. But before we get up out of here, Chris, you got anything to say to the peoples?
This red hat is not MAGA, niggas. It's Dad Gang. Dad Gang, my nigga. This is not no MAGA. Shout out to Dad Gang.
Shout
bang,
out to
bang.
Dad Gang. Bang, bang, Dad Gang. All right. With that being said, we'll holla at y'all tomorrow. Peace out, guys.